Hello and welcome to Animasaurus, where this old dinosaur talks animation. For this episode, we're going to have a bit of a look at the new trailer for Frozen 2. It's going to be released in November 22nd, which is still a couple of months away, so it's a good chance for us to have a look at it and build a little bit of excitement for the movie. Well, Frozen 2 is the second part in the franchise, directed by Jennifer Lee and Chris Buck. The first Frozen was released in 2013, that's 5 years ago. Had a reported budget of 150 million, but just at the box office alone, it made 1.276 billion. Now, when you actually throw into that all the toys and everything that went along with it, this made a incredible profit for the company. So it's really taken 5 years for it to come back, which is very interesting considering how well it did run. But with that, what was really great about the original Frozen was its visuals. And just in the trailer alone here for Frozen 2, the visual aspects of the film look stunning. It's one of the things that Disney is incredibly well known for, is its visuals. Its appealing visuals for making the movie look fantastic. While I was flicking through this particular frame of Elsa and this frozen snowflake or snow water drop, it looks really amazing. If you look at the colors, it's all in a nice blue hue, but you've got a huge foreground element and a smaller background element, and she's swimming in water as well. But just that framing and that image was one of the few images out of this trailer which I found really, really appealing. If you look at the cities, again, I was thinking about when I was looking at the city and the way that they've, the visual authentic of the city look, it gave me very much a Lord of the Rings sort of feel to it. If you look at the running water and the castle, there's a lot of fantasy elements that sort of come along with that, that have been used before. But for me, when I was looking at this, I was thinking Lord of the Rings. And then when we get to this particular frame here brought back memories of Brave when they were building Brave. So, this particular there's similarities to work that they've done before. Well, I didn't do Lord of the Rings, but, definitely with Brave, I can see that they've pulled this idea from Brave before. And then you've got this wall of mist, wall of snow, which I think, again, if you look at the framing of this, it's the desert if you start looking at the deserts from The Lion King against then a wall of ice. So you've got the contrast there between the two worlds, which she's going to. Very clear, distinctive contrast right down the middle. So the next thing, along with the visuals, you've got the story, which comes along with the trailer as well. Now, I thought the story from the first one was, it was entertaining. I didn't get a lot out of it. And now with the first trailer, I was looking at this, with the first Frozen trailer that came along, I'm like, it didn't get me that much. I wasn't really that keen on seeing anything more of Frozen 2 after the first trailers. But now with the Frozen 2 second trailer, where they've revealed a lot more about what story is going to happen, I'm a lot more excited about it. It's brought in a lot of fantasy magic elements, which, it was there in the first one, but I think in this one they're going to be pushing that a lot more, like the little stone rolling guys. I can't remember what you call them, but they were there and they're telling the story through magic in the sky. And then you've got Elsa, who's really dealing with having to deal with magic. And like it's even brought out in the trailer, it's like, where did you learn magic? So that part of the story and, the whole traveling from the real world, which they live in, where she's the only one who knows magic, and she's going into a world where it looks like magic is definitely a fulfilling part of everyday life for them. It's, she's going to be experiencing magic in a whole different way. I really loved the movie Epic when it came out. Completely different story and everything along to it, but I've definitely got a feeling, or for me, I've got that, the magic that came along with Epic is definitely kind of a core thing which I'm getting out of the Frozen 2 trailer too. Just want to quickly jump in here and say this video is brought to you by my book, Palmerston Ridge. If you like coming of age stories and growing up in an Australian outback, this book is going to be a great read. Check it out in the links below. Talking about epic, I loved this one. This particular frame's very contrasting to the rest of the film. So I'm guessing this is probably one of the early parts where they're setting up the story while they're talking in bed, you know, the fairy tale which they talk about. But I absolutely gravitated to this shot. I love the way it's framed and it's coloured. It tells a whole story just in itself. The first thing I just wanted to go off on a bit of a tangent about is it's got a beautiful frame within a frame. So they've thought really hard about it and they've constructed a frame inside the frame here using the trees and the horizon line to kind of frame a different frame inside the other frame. Then they've also utilised light then to make everything else just a little bit darker. So you can see that the sunlight, while it's streaming in and it's a real sunny day, the only part that's really well lit is that frame inside the frame. The other part of it is all in shadow. They've also used the purples to kind of be a framing element there as well. They've got the leading light and the green, which leads up to the character. So that path is definitely distinct, with the purples on either side helping lead your eye up to the character. And the last thing, which is even really cool, is this thirds framing inside the new frame that they've created. So they've helped lead your line even further by creating a thirds frame inside the frame, which they've then framed inside light. And I just love this frame. I thought it was really beautiful. The other thing which watching this, I think they might have taken some kind of elements out of is Iron Giant. Iron Giant, again, is a real classic film, but when I started looking at some of the shots of this big stone giants which they've got in here, you know, I just got big flashbacks of Iron Giant because I loved Iron Giant as well. But another thing which really, another part which I want to talk about throughout the whole trailer, which came from a framing perspective, is the framing of it. Everything which they've, or not everything, but most of the shots, when you actually look through it, are very much dead center of frame, which is a very unusual framing. But it does really make, especially when they do the fast cuts at the end of the trailer, it does make it really easy to follow. If everything is then happening dead center in the frame, it's a fairly unique framing technique because you usually end up with a lot of space on either side and you've got a lot of frame to fill. If you've got a character inside something, they're really hard to fill a frame with one character. But as it is with this trailer, they've done it really quite well. Again, like I said, the editing has cut it really quickly, so you don't have a lot of time to look around the frame anyway. So it helps that all the story points which they did want to tell are dead center, so that when you are watching the quick editing or the quick cuts towards the end of the trailer, it's really easy to follow because your eye doesn't have to move around the frame. The only thing which I did find really, really distracting in this trailer was the final gag. When I watched this, the first time I watched it, looking at Olaf with this camera, it's the only really wide camera lens. Makes him look all warpy and disfigured. If that's what they wanted to do, great, it really worked. But I didn't like running back with the character, with the things dropping around him with this warpy, you know, wide lens. And just a real little note to follow at the end here. You can see inside this frame as well, he's got 4 arms. So they've got a really cool animation technique there going, with multiple arms happening on Olaf as well. So overall, Frozen 2 comes out November 22nd. Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you think. Are you going to go see it? Are you going to drag the kids along with it? And let me know if you think it's going to top the original Frozen. Until I see you again at Animosaurus, bye-bye.